Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final episode of the show, Star Trek Wednesdays 2015. Star date is 2015.364 at 22:11 Eastern Standard Time. I am joined tonight by our panel. First off, our Chief Logistics Officer, Captain TimberWolf. Lead us off with a good how to end 2015, sir. Why, thank you very much, sir. Our Chief Intelligence Officer is away on a secret mission right now, something about infiltrating a puppy center of some sort. But we will stay tuned with him, and he will be
mill.
a puppy mill, something about dealing with puppies. Anyway, who cares? It's just puppies. The final.
Well, I heard the puppies were producing beams on a fate.
You know what? You're banned from this show.
Whoa, boy.
Oh.
Right, her final episode of 2015, our one and only TeacherKirby.
Hey, everyone.
Our Chief Ironic Medic, Captain MK.
Since Cam's not here this week.
Poor
Oh, you're funny.
invitation, sir. Very poor.
I know. I'm just not as good at detecting sarcasm, unfortunately. I will try.
I see that. Our Chief Emergency Role-Playing Hologram and Chief of Immersion Experiences, Zeph from Zeph Films.
That's my.
That's better.
sarcasm
Good
detector.
lord.
That's a little
I
bit
have-
better.
I have the gravel today. Yes. Let the gravel flow through me.
And our
That
Chief...
sounds painful.
I think he's been reprogrammed.
Something like that. Our Chief of Cheesy Tactics, and I heard he did really good on the chemistry exam, Captain SOB.
Hello.
I heard that your husband or wife... Oh, wait, 2016, that means he's going to be your wife. Our Chief Science Officer, Captain Snipey 47 Alpha, will probably be rejoining us in 2016 on a couple episodes of the show. Are you excited about that?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Well, first off, we had some breaking news here that we're still trying to gather details on. So...
It's broken, alright.
Oh, it's broken. It's broken big
Oh,
time.
yeah, it's broken.
The repercussions of this, depending on how it goes, could affect everybody that does anything fan-based with the Star Trek IP. And that includes all of us. Priority
This is
One,
such a headache.
G&T, the show, everything from Astro Zombies, gaming, TimberWolf, everything with Reddit, the whole 9 yards. All of us.
Everyone on Drozana.
Oh, including Drozana. Especially Drozana.
Dear God.
The number one thing we're talking about tonight is the suit that has been filed by CBS and Paramount Pictures against Star Trek Axanar. It broke as of yesterday. As of today, it is all over social media. You cannot go on Twitter or Facebook if you're a Star Trek fan and not see this. I've even seen this on the Rolling Stone magazine Facebook page, Collider.com. There are at least, I want to say, 4 or 5 petitions out there separately trying to gather signatures. The one I've been following personally is change.org. That is getting close to 3,000 signatures at this point. It is humongous because CBS is claiming the infringement of intellectual property going down to the uniforms being used, starships, the names, the species. They've made a lot of claims. We will have the full suit linked in the description of our show. Suffice to say, it's all going to come down to what was known ahead of time. Axanar started in 2010 when Alec Peters started writing it. We just had the trailer come out within a year of this date, which was Prelude to Axanar. So if they knew about it ahead of time and it was well discussed and there was no profit being made and they didn't feel anything was being copyright infringed up to this point, and they're simply just trying to get a handle on their IP that CBS owns, this could really affect what everybody does Star Trek related. Now, from what we've been able to see, there may be one or two shady things when it comes to Axanar. It has, within the past couple of months, we've heard that Tony Todd has left Axanar, and he's stated a very short comment on Twitter. There's still details on both sides, but it's going to come down to how this thing ends as far as it affects anybody and everybody that does fan-made projects for Star Trek in general. So we're just trying to get all the info we can so we can get it to you, because it may affect people as simple as us that just like to broadcast Star Trek Online or other Star Trek games. It could affect Star Trek Timelines, which hasn't even come out yet as a game. It could affect all of us, and we have to figure out where it's going to go, how far it's going to go, or is it just simply going to settle and they're going to find a middle ground that makes everybody happy.
Now, mind you, this is not... Go on.
We're all on the show going to be keeping up with this and making notes, and we'll make small notes here and there on our shows going forward to keep you apprised what's going on. They probably won't be huge speeches or anything. We'll just make note of where it's going until we have the finale of this. But we are going to keep up with this because it does affect everybody in the Star Trek community.
Now, this is not a doom and gloom. Go on, teacher. Go on.
Well, I was going to say what I find interesting is that, Axanar is the biggest and the most popular of the most recent fan-funded projects, but Renegades already produced something. Renegades has the name Star Trek in its title. Renegades has actors from the series that we are familiar with, Voyager most notably,
reprising their role.
Reprising their original roles, right, their IP roles, and so far nothing. Yet they've gone after Axanar, which is still in production. So to me that's kind of interesting that Axanar's, first of all, been in production for 5 years, or been raising money publicly, not privately, publicly out there in the spotlight, raising money for this for 5 years, and nothing until now. And I find the timing of it very interesting, personally.
Yeah, the big thing that's coming out is, and I know, poor Odin, I know.
It's all good, man. Go on.
The big thing that a lot of fans have stated when it comes to Renegades is Axanar's actually got promise. It has potential. It can turn into something amazing that the fans want. Just off the trailer, fans love what they see. Renegades had a lot of star potential, and that's the nicest thing I can put about it. It did not come with great reviews. Now, they're still raising money for episodes 2 and 3. They are trying to basically kill off Chekhov's. They're trying to kill off Chekhov. Yeah. They're going to try and kill off Chekhov so that he can finally end his role as Chekhov. But you still have people like Icheb and Tuvok and a few others. But a lot of fans think it's simply because of Axanar's popularity. That's what a lot of fans are thinking right now, because of the popularity that they're gaining.
Yeah.
This is where it's coming from.
It's fair to think that, because that's what it looks like.
I can see that. It is what it looks like, and especially when you consider that the lawsuit doesn't cite, well, this is most popular. The lawsuit cites it is copyright infringement because XYZ, and I did read through the entire thing, and they name various things that they're infringing on, which Renegades is just as guilty of that. So if that's all it actually is, then, then Renegades should be...
And they're not the only ones. We just saw Starship Farragut, which is using the same original series bridge and uniforms and everything else. They just started Kickstarters. They just started getting their name out there. They would be technically under the wording of this lawsuit as far as copyright infringement. They'd be just as liable as well, and they just started.
And Star Trek continues as well. My daughter's favorite
I love
series.
it.
Oh, absolutely. With Vic playing Kirk.
Yeah.
Well, I think one
they
big
use
difference.
Apollo from the original series as a continuum. There's a bunch of characters from TOS that are used in STC. That's another example entirely.
Go on, Alan.
I think one main difference between, I haven't seen all of Renegades, but one big difference between Renegades and Axanar is, if I remember correctly, Renegades is a kind of its own new story. Like, I don't think it really touches on anything that's already established in canon. Whereas
it's based in existing canon, but it kind of extrapolates in a very fan service kind of way. It's not a very realistic extrapolation.
Yeah,
of
whereas
previous canon.
Axanar really taps on a lot of things. Like Garth is established as the hero of Captain Kirk. Captain April, whatever, was actually the first captain of the USS Enterprise that took it out on the shakedown cruise. Yeah, I don't know what to really make. Me personally, as like kind of doing like my own Star Trek video things, I'm not too worried about CBS knocking on my door. Really, for us, and I use this phrase loosely because I'm talking. Looking at the entire Star Trek community, going all the way up to Axanar and even like the CBS productions like TNG, we are very, very, very small players. Like, I don't think it would really be worth CBS's money to come after somebody like me who uses stuff in cinematic trailers and sometimes uses Star Trek like music that's actually like Star Trek licensed. I really think I think they're going after Axanar because of how well it's doing, and they see a giant cash cow, and it's
to make an example.
Yeah, it could be just the thing where a little
what
kid.
It feels like it feels punitive.
They've seen another kid in the sandbox pick up the plastic shovel, and now they want to play with it too, kind of thing. That's kind of the feeling that I get from it right now. But
Alan, it really doesn't reflect well on what they or the confidence they have in their own streaming series in 2017 either.
Or Star Trek Beyond, for that matter, and that's only had one trailer, and we've even seen statements from Simon Pegg that he didn't even like the trailer. He's acting in it. He's helped write that particular movie. But if you're trying to crush fan-made productions before anything that you've released has come out, you're not inspiring confidence. Especially with trailers like Star Trek Beyond. I'm sorry, I'm not looking forward to Fast and Furious meets Star Trek. I want to know if we're going to go back to the roots of what made Star Trek Star Trek.
Now, I will say this real quick, tapping off of what Alan just said as well. Now, this is not the sky is definitely falling doom and gloom, because there's a lot of details that need to come out from both sides before anything realistically should be considered. With that said, though,
we're seeing the Streisand effect a little bit too already.
Right, but with that said, though, CBS does have a case history of going after the little guy. Perfect example of this: the Android app, the tricorder Android app. Small development. Initially, the guy used the Lacar's layout on top of the Android app itself. It was wildly popular. He then tried to see if he could make some money off of it, if I remember this part correctly. I'm not sure if he actually did charge ultimately, and they told him to back off, or they saw the popularity. He was thinking about charging, and then CBS told him, nope, can't do it, drop it. So ultimately, it was released again. A couple more versions were released for free, and then ultimately he got the cease and desist done, and it's over with. So it's no longer available in Google Play. So anybody who had the Android, the tricorder app, including myself, I still have it. That's it. You're the only owners of that thing. You have it. You can't get anywhere else. With that said, you do have to worry a little bit when they go after the big guy like that. Alan said that you don't have to be too concerned about CBS knocking on his door with a whole bunch of lawyers saying, yep, cease and desist, and by the way, here's a lawsuit. But there is a precedent for this, and if they could squash this project, not only are any future big projects going to be looked at with trepidation, also all of the smaller projects could be affected as well. And depending on how far they really want to start enforcing that, they can if they win. Assuming, and this is the big assumption here, assuming that everything we see from Axonar is at face value.
I mean, if they could go so far as simply going to YouTube and saying, okay, anything that we don't release from a Paramount or CBS account that has Star Trek linked to it, fan-based projects, video games, anything that's been recorded by someone not by us, the IP holders, we want it marked as infringing on third party, and they either have to put up ads so we can make money off of it, or they have to remove it. They can do something as simple as that, and then if you want to put anything up that has the Star Trek name, you either can't put it up, or you have to put ads to make them money. And I've seen that being done something as simple as background music for Dead Island. It popped up that third party, I either had to delete the audio or put advertisements in so that they got a portion of the money from the video. They could go that far. Is that likely? No. But they do have that right with the IP, especially with how they're pursuing this. And if the details do come out that, let's say, they want to go that far, it is in the realm of the possibility.
I'll have you know that during this entire podcast, I am actually in Sony Vegas Pro putting together a STO video. Come at me, CBS. I stand for XNR.
Oh, shots fired. Well, we will definitely be staying on top of this as news develops. We'll definitely be putting it up on the show. And once we have the show website rolled out, we will have everything that we can get on top of it displayed on the site.
You know what would be awesome?
Alan,
if
they get to you as fast as the DS9 Blu-rays, you've got a while to wait.
Oh, I know, right? What would be awesome is if the jury was all Trekkie fans.
Oof.
That would be sweet cold justice right there.
Yeah, but you know what? There's so many different tricks within the judicial system that they could literally knock out anybody who's a science fiction fan.
Yeah, that's true. They do. I've done jury duty before, and they ask you straight out, like, are you racist against any other races other than your own? And I sat there as people actually stood up there and like, yeah, I am racist against this group. I'm like, oh, okay. We're not going to pick you.
All right, moving on. The best show moments of 2015. And we're going to go down the line here on our panel. Actually, we'll start with you, Zeph. What do you think? Best show moments of 2015 based off of your recollection.
As a guest or as a co-host?
Yeah, all right, how about this? You get two. It doesn't matter. Any two best moments, pick them.
You know what? Relating to the show, my best moment had to be... First best moment was first time being a guest on here to talk about the Iconian trailer. That was pretty kick-ass. Second best moment was officially joining the show crew and doing these podcasts every week. So those are my two best show moments.
Almost brought a tear to my eye.
Duh.
We see that, Benji. We see that. Timber, your two best moments.
Quite honestly, one of them is going to be the first shows that I did for both the show and when we first started just doing me and you, our first dual casts, when we were doing discussions about it. If I remember correctly, we did a dual cast for the pilot ships, where it's just me and you talking about them.
Correct.
Just the origins of the show is one of my two. The origins of how the show started and how it grew to what it is now. For me, that's one of my favorite and best moments. Secondly, see here. I mean, there's so many of them. Bringing on the new people that we've had, and I know that's not a specific moment, but bringing on TeacherKirby, bringing on Alan, bringing on McKay, bringing on new perspectives on the game, new voices and opinions, so we can have a true roundtable discussion that's has multifacet on each side of a topic. That's my other best moment, is just simply being able at this point right now, there are so many different and varied opinions about topics from where we started that it makes the show even better than it was before.
And it all stays civil, which is kind of nuts.
You know, it's so crazy, it just might work.
Yo, I can make this get real uncivil real fast if you want.
Hey, we'll hold off on that.
Put up your moose. Put up your moose right now.
Yeah,
I've already
just,
seen it.
Just render a bunch of starships out of plane with each other, and you'll definitely piss CBS off.
Oh, shots fired.
Hashtag come at me, CBS. I stand with XNR.
I see the emotions are still a little bit hot with this, so we're just going to step back a little bit and go to Captain SOB. Your 2 best moments, sir.
Ooh, I'm going to have to agree with that guy in chat. Your crying about Torps is definitely one of the best things. And the other great thing would be anytime Snipey was crying about something killing him in PvP.
Really? You really are going to mess with your husband like that going into 2016?
I know, right?
Those are the best moments.
Low.
Spousal support. Captain MK, your best moment, sir.
So, I mean, it's going to be a broken record, but honestly, coming on board, I feel like I've learned a vast amount from being on the show, and it's also had me check my game, because we've got a lot of knowledgeable listeners and things like that. So if I've got facts to render as part of my opinions, I've learned that they must absolutely be correct. That's all a good thing. But as far as my favorite comedic moment, hands down, Ox to Batman battles.
I do enjoy those too.
Those aren't meant to be comedic. That is fact. Ox to Bat is best bat.
Wow.
Right, but we haven't figured out who's Ox to Batman and who's SR Robin yet.
Well, I believe that SOB is definitely Ox the Batman, for sure. And
that makes Cam SR Robin, and he would never stand for that.
Oh, he will never stand for that. Nope.
So it's possible the Ox 2 battles aren't quite over yet.
I think they're just beginning. TeacherKirby, your best moments, please, madam.
Well, I am going to echo Alan and Mikey's statements. Joining the show is definitely one of my favorite moments. And the other one, I have to say when Cam announced his screenshot contest of the beams on a fate.
That's why I put beams on my fate.
That was just... I know, right?
A lot of y'all are asking for torpedoes in places where the sun does not shine. I'm going to totally avoid those explosions.
It's okay.
That's where we send the torpedoes.
It's okay. I'm going to have the last laugh anyway, so it's all good. It's all good. And
well, for now, it's just tears. Just crying.
Oh, no. There's no crying. There's no crying. For me, it's just watching this happy accident come together. It's definitely something where we pulled some good people.
I can't believe torpedoes work.
Well, you know what?
They're amazing.
They work. I'll see you in PvP later. Shh.
No, they're amazing. That wasn't critical. I can't believe they have been allowed to work. As a kind of a really quick side note, love to Cryptic for all the torpedo props.
I will definitely say that Cryptic Rock has, from my understanding, been busting his hump and trying to get some of these mechanics fixed and working.
Terran Rep alone is a huge hug to all the torpedo users out there. It's amazing.
It's close, but still.
It's a big hug.
The Torps are getting too much love again, Odin. We got your neutronic nerf, now we got to get your
There's still a lot of bugs. There's still a lot of bugs that need to be worked on.
None of this.
There are still a lot of bugs.
I've talked to Snipey. That enhanced biomolecular is going to go see the nerf bat.
Do not make me go Cisco on you! There, I did it.
SOB is trying to get Torps nerfed via the show again.
Anyway, Anyway, all I have to say is that I love this happy accident coming together. I love everybody who has contributed into it, whether they're actually on the panel or not. Getting to know a lot of the fleets through the fleet interviews, getting to know the real IQ fleet was a big one right there. A lot of myths behind them have been dispelled and the curtain has been revealed about who they are. And we're going to continue that going on in 2016 to all the other fleets that are out there. So if you are a fleet that definitely wants to be interviewed on there, we will contact you or you contact us. We'll have our people call your people and vice versa. How about that? You know? Oh yeah, I please bring on the General Martok. You know, we did invite you on here beforehand. We're waiting for you to fulfill that request. So, with that said, I want to hear from the panel on the best STO moments of 2015. And you get two in reverse order. Teacher, go.
I would have to say for me personally, when I first broke 75K, and the best part of that was that Alan got it on film. That was just awesome.
And you get one more on that.
Oh my goodness.
And you had a
I
lot
would have to
pick
say
from.
the other favorite thing I've done. I know, right? I think the other favorite thing I've done has been more recent, the Gorn invasion of ESD. That was just full up shenanigans and hilarious and fun. So those are my two.
Captain MK, go.
Well, my number one moment for STO in 2015 has to be the trait revamp, the separation of space and ground traits. I know I hear this a lot, and I hate to say it myself, but quality of life wise, it is the biggest improvement I think I've ever seen in STO, the biggest singular improvement. And that's just my opinion, but that's how I feel. And I guess the other one is probably going to be, and again, just my opinion, but the significant quality increase in all of the story missions that we're getting. I tell people that don't play STO to play it just for the quality of some of the newer missions, for the story, for seeing characters interact that wouldn't interact normally in the series and things like that. So those are my two moments.
Captain SOB, go.
My two favorite moments. One of the best for me was the exchange cap being raised up to 750 mil. While it wasn't the billion I was hoping for, 750 mil is still a nice leap. My other favorite moment in STO in the last year was PvPing Snipey with cannons and listening to him cry about his cannons not firing. That was quite memorable. The crying
Yes.
still goes on.
It still goes on. To this day, it still goes on. Captain TimberWolf, go.
First one would be breaking 100K in my Odyssey. That was a huge deal to me. I didn't even know it was possible because simply watching how I was able to evolve from just this random player in the background that didn't know anything to getting to that point in the community where I knew the people that had the knowledge and breaking the number that I wanted to break the whole time. So that night was special to me. And I'm going to state my birthday this year because that was also the day that they brought out the Year of Hell lockbox, and I was gifted a Krenim warship that night, a Zal, and a Hydran. And the Krenim warship was one of the top ships that I had wanted since I started playing the game, and I was wanting it to come in. And when they finally introduced it, it's one of the best high-end DPS ships out there. So that made it even more lucrative for me. So getting that on my birthday of all days, to me, was a great moment for me.
Well, 100K in an Audi is a pretty big deal too.
Oh, that was an amazing thing. I'm still glad that I can average about 90 or so in her. But It's just those particular stand out the most to me, besides all the everyday moments we have with our TeamSpeak, which each day can be memorable in its own way. And we
DPS
have
After Dark.
trademark, copyright reserved.
Mr. Chief Emergency Role-Playing Hologram, your moment, sir.
Moments relating to the game. Number one, I think actually the thing that got me the most excited game-wise this year, Manicore. When they announced that they were coming out with a T6 Chimera, I was happier than a pig in shit when I found out. That was, I remember exactly where I was when I got a message from somebody, and they're like, "Yo, they're releasing a T6 Chimera." I'm like, "Really?" I think I was at a farmer's market about an hour and a half out of town in Amishville, and I'm standing there in the middle in like the baking sun, and I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like just so excited. So I think that was my number one moment for this year. A very, very, very close second to that was when I finally cracked. Oh, you guys remember this? I was trying to hit 50K, and I ended up with like 78K, and I just abolished the 50K goal that I was trying to hit. So that was number 2 for me.
Yeah, I remember that moment. You were like hitting the wall at 44, 43, 48. And you're like, I'm never going to do this. Like, no, man, you got this. You got this. And not only did you get it, you smashed it, looked back, and say, is that it? And kept going.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. My two, first off, I actually want to say the communication from Salami Inferno over the summer event and the currency system with it. That was a mess that could have went really, really bad. And his response and his compromise to it was a very well played response and a well done reaction to it. And, you know, for as much as the initial decision could have been hashed out much better than what came out initially, the way he handled it and the way he stated his vision while still addressing the concerns of the player and the rest of the community is, I applaud that. And I would have to say that that is a very, very good moment and should serve as the template for any sort of sticky situation that comes up between Cryptic and the player base. My second one here involved the dev community actually wanting to talk to and engage with on a deep level as well as with a social level how the state of the game is. They came in, they asked us to test stuff out on Tribble. They were hanging out with us for a bit. Bort still hops on Reddit every once in a while. Zeronius comes out and does her stream and hangs out with people around here. That type of engagement is rarely seen in other games that are, whether they're free to play or whether they're subscription based or a different model. That's rarely seen, but it's also very well received by the community. Whether you like the state of the game or not, when you have the people that help create it or form it in some way get involved within the community directly, that includes playing the game with them, people appreciate that. And that goes a very long way in saying to other people, hey, look, we make this, we have our own stake in it too. Come on in and enjoy it. We'll try and make it better. And I hope that the lessons learned from that in 2015 not only carry over into 2016, but are also magnified as well. Now, somebody go tell me something about a good ship in 2015 that they enjoyed. I know Zeph over here said he loved the Manicore. This guy was a kid in the candy store loving it. He said, look at this ship, man. Look at it. And I was like,
I still use it religiously. I sometimes switch over to a couple of new other ships, but my mana core.
Let me put it to you this way. You got me out of the Defiant.
I did. I thought you were already rocking the mana core.
Well, yeah, but I mean the ship design itself, the way for PVE purposes, the ship design, the way it flies, the whole night. You got me out of the Defiant. That should speak volumes for anybody who knows me. If it doesn't, know that I am the Cisco. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing. It's real. Go on. All right. Favorite ship, TimberWolf.
For this year, I actually have two. I stated the Crenum, but I will also state the Breen Resreth Dreadnought that we just got with the winter event. Because it's has a lot of similarities to my Odyssey that I fly already. There's honestly very, very little in terms of differences between the two. I was actually able to make it a better tank than I could my Tactical Odyssey. So I love my Resreth, and the Crenum warship, like I said, it was a ship I was looking forward to forever, and I was glad I was able to get it.
Teacher.
I have to say, favorite ship of 2016, probably the Anorax. That thing just took my KDF side tune to a whole new level, made her competitive, and just that ship is just awesome. It is a beast, and I love it.
SOB.
My favorite ship this year is probably the Crenum Imperium warship. It's a ship that has, it's the only ship really that's came out that is competitive with the Scimitar at that DPS level. A lot of Scimitar pilots I know have swapped over to that while we wait for the T6 Simi. Just a really great ship.
Mikey.
Same as it was in 2014, same as it was in 2013. It's still going to be the Science Odyssey. But I will say that even though I might not have been exactly the first to rock the Audi flag super hard, I've converted at least a few other people into seeing how cool it is. And the Audi is still very competitive in 2015. Asked me again in 2016, and I may have a different answer for you. But for now, it's still going to be the Audi.
And we have a couple of our fans out there who've been stating their own. Mr. Wardonis, who's Mr. Ward himself out there, the lieutenant of the kinetic community. He loves the T6 Tavaro, and he loves his big red ball of doom. We've had Valican already agree with TeacherKirby here on the Anorax. We have Syndustries loving the pilot ships. Pretty much Ben is loving the T6 Dreads. Scott Ross of pilot ships and Crenum warship. Ain loves his own tank. We don't care where he loves it. He loves his own tank, but yeah, he loves the Bolton too. We know that. We know you love some tank too. Oh, now here's the thing though. A lot of people either love or hate the Vomp for its size. What do you guys think?
Talk to the space hand.
I guess that answers him. SOB.
I the size of the bump doesn't bother me, but it just doesn't perform that well. I just hate it.
So if you hate it that much, what would be a better ship to fill that build style or role?
It's basically an upgraded Narcine, so that really is the only thing for a carrier type, but for that role, it's really it.
But if it's an upgraded Narcine, why not just fly the Vomp?
I don't like the Narcine either.
Teacher, what do you think? What do you think? Vomp, size, yay or nay?
The size doesn't really bother me. It is huge, and I've chuckled to myself when we've gone in an ISA with Tanky and been pushed out of the way because he's in his swamp, because it's it's just cute. But he, I hear good things and bad things about it, but the only person I've seen that flies it consistently is Tankia, and he makes a beast of a healer out of that thing and still manages to do DPS in it. So I think it comes down to the pilot behind it, really.
TimberWolf.
More echoing of Teacher. It's going to come down to the pilot. For me, it doesn't do a daggum thing. If I'm wanting a tank, there are other options like the Sayati that I'm working on, or the Resref. There's carriers out there if I wanted to fly a carrier. On top of that, simply the price. I'm sorry, that ship is not anywhere close to being worth the price that is being sold either on the exchange, if it makes it to the exchange, or on the trading channels. It's not worth the price of the ship. It's not worth the price of the trait. So just on the price alone, I wouldn't fly it. But if I could afford it, I mean, if I was looking for builds, it was not something I would fly anyway.
Zeph, what about you?
It's not a Manicore.
That's awesome.
I really don't. I have no experience with the ship at all, so I honestly don't have an opinion whatsoever. But I can't afford it. Don't really care. Stick with Manicore. Yeah.
Well, while we have you up,
I like the Iconian aesthetic. It's a pretty ship.
Odysseys for life.
Odysseys for life.
All right. Well, all right. While we had Zeph on here last, let's go start with him on this one. Favorite or best ground gear of 2015?
Ground gear. It's Manicore.
We'll do bombing runs.
Rosebud.
Ground gear. I don't do much ground. I like to stay in my ship in my comfy chair where the holo emitters work and not in
Space
hostile
elitist
environments.
confirmed.
No. Holo emitters are working perfectly fine on the ship. And
what are you scared of on ground? You can't die.
I don't do ground.
You can't die.
Aesthetically, I really can't pick one. Which ones came out this year?
Terran, Iconian. Was it Iconian this year or last year?
Iconian was this year.
Iconian was this year.
Just those two, I think, right?
And Romulan naval set.
Yes, from the episode.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't really have an opinion on the ground stuff. When I do my reputation stuff, I focus more on my space gear than I do on my ground gear. Like, I still rock adapted Mako ground gear whenever I do ground stuff. It works perfectly fine for me and suits my needs. So
works fun.
Aesthetic-wise, I think the Lobby Iconian costume looks pretty cool, if I was to give an answer.
Thank you, sir. TimberWolf.
Quite honestly, the Advanced Herald staff weapon from the Lobby store. For me, that is my favorite piece of ground combat gear. As far as the armor, I will have to say the Terran set, because now I look like the Red Ranger.
I knew you'd love that staff.
But yes, especially if I can find a decent sword. Yeah, Red Ranger with the backup of the staff weapon. Yeah, I'm good.
Teacher.
I gotta echo Timber's sentiment on the weapons. The staff. The staff is epic. Love the staff. Kiss the staff. There you go. As far as aesthetics, I may get some hate for it, but I'm not really too terribly into dressing up for aesthetics. I go more for function on my armor and things like that. So I haven't really played with that.
Thank you, madam. SOB.
I'd have to say here the Vodwar bolt rifle and that Vodwar armor, or the Lobi costume, both are pretty nice. As are the lovely AP Pulse Wave Crit D4 and this main Crit D4, which is great.
That Vodwar coat came out this year or last year?
That was this year.
Was it? You know what? I remember that being the biggest hype because Guardians of the Galaxy and everybody went space Barbies and cosplaying.
Yeah, I want to be Star-Lord.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or the other thing I've seen built with that is Rocketeer outfits, which is really cool.
Oh.
And I want to give a shout out to the overall this year. My favorite ground ability, really my favorite, the concussive tachyon emission. It's definitely not OP at all. It's just great.
Definitely not broken. It's working just fine.
Working as intended.
Especially on TAC captains.
Yes.
Ouch.
Mikey, go.
Damn. I mean, as far as come out this year, there's not really anything that came out this year that I play a lot of ground. I like ground, especially bug hunt. It's hard to say. I guess again it comes down to maybe some of the new traits they've given us with ground and stuff like that. What's come out this year as far as traits on ground? Trying to remember.
When they did the revamp of the trait system and split them between space and
Well,
ground,
yeah, they gave us a few.
Right.
They gave us a few, but I'm trying to think of the lockbox traits that came out this year. Oh,
yeah.
There's another one. Self-modifying
Modulating
shots and the So the ground and space versions of that space pen trait, that's great for Hive, and I've been using them. I've been using the space version for Hive, especially because Shield Pen is god in that. But I guess that'd be my favorite right there. I have not stopped running them since I got them, so there's my pick for functionality. As far as aesthetics, I don't know. You know what? I really like the non-fed scarf from the Winter Wonderland gear this year.
Interesting.
I don't like the fed scarf. The color combo isn't quite right, and it doesn't really. It seems to clip in some weird ways that the regular one doesn't, at least to me. But the non-fed scarf is really cool looking.
You know what? I gotta look at that and see. I don't think I've seen that around much, if at all, when I actually hit the ground. And yes, the exchange does count as a ground arena. Damn,
the
those
candy cane
prices.
batleth is friggin' gross looking. It doesn't quite look right. It clips a bunch.
Yeah, that's something that needs to be fixed.
The lollipop lurp is okay. That one looks okay. You know what? I really like a lot of the new. I'll come out and say it. I have enjoyed the Winter Wonderland this year a whole lot. I like all the snow weapons. I like all the new ones.
I'm going to go in the opposite direction for me and say that my biggest disappointment on the ground has been that torpedo. There was so much hype over that thing. I finally get the kit, slap on a
Here
whole
we
bunch
go
of
again.
traits to get it, and then lo and behold, I get a freaking hot air balloon being let go without being tied and just whizzing all over the place and hitting for spitball damage.
No ground torps for you.
Oh
And
god.
you know you had ground torps in Elite Force. You had the micro torpedo launcher in Elite Force, and when you launched one of those things, it blew stuff up.
It was a photon torpedo bazooka.
There was a quantum torpedo version of it in Elite Force 2.
I was expecting
That
Elite
thing is
Force
how it
weapons,
should-
and instead I got a pea shooter.
That's how it should have been.
Or at the very
Yeah, dude, you got screwed, and I am
Honestly, McKay,
sorry.
Honestly, McKay, when I first saw the initial report of it, I didn't think it was a wrist weapon. I thought it was going to be basically a universal orbital strike using a torpedo.
That would have been
That's what I was.
hail your
orbital
ship
strike.
for that would have been that would have been cool too.
That's what I was looking for, because then they could have coded it possibly to actually look at your ship and see what the base torpedo would be for that faction. So if you're a
Launch one of
Romulan,
those torpedoes.
if you're a
You got
Romulan, plasma, Federation, Photon, or Quantum. So it could have been faction based.
That could have been cool. I always saw it honestly as a type launcher.
I think Syndustries says it best. Cryptic found a way to troll hidden underground maps. That pretty much just sums up that torpedo.
Odin, if it makes you
His
feel
tears
better,
will make a river.
I know how you feel about being disappointed about something on the ground. It happened to me also with Hammer and Anvil.
Really? How bad was
I still
it for
like
you?
Hammer and Anvil.
Hammer and Anvil, it gives you bonus damage when flanking, but it doesn't work with trajectory bending.
Because you're not really flanking. Hammer and Anvil's making a check against
Also,
a true flank, not a projected flank.
It's one of those old command abilities that checks for all the pets on the map, so it really lags out if you have a lot of security escorts and pets out.
Wow.
Best kit module ever.
Well, moving on to the best of the best here.
Wait. There is one more big disappointment of the year, Marshall.
Go for it.
If we're talking about ground, there's one more, and I have to say it. The changes to what is considered physical damage and the shoddy.
Oh yeah.
I have a little bit of beef with Cryptic
Advanced fleet compensating armor.
Yes, in classifying kinetic from physical.
Up.
Why the separation between physical and kinetic? That is
in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So I will agree with you on that.
Instead of nerfing the armor to not boost the shoddy damage anymore, they should have just changed the shoddy damage to kinetic and been done.
Yeah, but oh well. In any case, moving right along here. Your best space weapons and or space weapon set. Go, Mikey.
Best space weapon that I can run
or
is
space
probably
set.
The A.R.A.P. I love the A.R.A.P. Everyone should love the A.R.A.P. Even though it lacks pen, it's definitely still better than a pen beam. Although they're unique, you can only run one, but they're great for anti-proton setups. It's out DPSing my other beam.
And for those who don't know what it is, could you please explain it to them?
Let me please expand out that shortening. It's the Advanced Radiant Anti-Proton Beam, basically the Iconian Ret beam, and it's great. Like I said, the current meta seems to be moving towards running the Terran Rep beam, the A.R.A.P, and 6 pen beams, but it's not for everybody, so your mileage may vary. But yeah, A.R.A.P all the way.
SOB.
I'm going to have to repeat basically what he said there, but with the Terran beam, it's on any beam and cannon builds, it's making me go back to plus beam or plus cannon consoles, because those two weapons, the Terran Disruptor beam and the Terran dual heavy cannon, are just too powerful.
Teacher.
I'd have to say probably the particle emission plasma torpedo for, the high part gem builds, because that thing just is a beast. It really does really good stuff with paired with a grab wheel and a high part gen build.
Oh yeah, the pep is filthy. It is filthy.
Yeah.
Timber.
Quite honestly, the new Terran Task Force Disruptor. I like what it's doing for disruptor builds. You can actually pair it up with other disruptors, so you're having different procs. It increases damage as the target decreases hull. I found AP is just kind of boring at this point. So with the changes they've been doing to disruptors, and you've got different options for them, the Terran Task Force Advanced Disruptor Array.
So far, we're all in agreement. So amateur astronomers out there, please keep a lookout for any incoming meteors. Thank you.
Zeph, go.
Real quick, I think the Iconian space set was a real game changer for this year. I think it improved a lot of people's numbers and the way they play and all that, and how encouraged a little bit more of team coordination with the whole pulse with the 4-piece set.
I'm actually going to go partially, no surprise here, the Terran Ordnance set, because this is the first time you actually see torpedoes receive something that is a major boost for them. And then I'm also going to throw into that boat the Quantum Phase set, because there you have phasers and disruptors. You have your cannon builds that are going to love, cannon is in seen on the show, that are going to love those two sets. You have something there for torpedoes. You have the kinetic community finally getting a dream weapon that we posted on the forum. So about off and on, say about 2 years plus, where we have a torpedo that would focus more on shield draining specifically. Although right now we're trying to figure out why spread is the best single target shield drain for it, and high yield barely does anything. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Hello, Cryptic Rock. Thank you very much. And we're also wondering about the 3-piece on the Terran Ordnance set and why it went from, oh wow, this is too freaking OP, this should not be released on holodeck at all whatsoever, please stop the press, to, is this thing on, really? I mean, hello, I activated this, there's a 2-minute cooldown, I fired a whole whopping 4 torps, what? What gives?
I'll honestly say that should go into another topic for us. Over nerfed content, and that just, I think that's the best of 2015. Something comes out, it works nicely, it might be a little over the top, and it is over nerfed into the ground. I think that is one of the big best of the best for 2015, honestly.
Yeah, 2015 is the year of the over nerf. It is.
It's compelled me to wait before any significant acquisition or change to my build, just because I have to wait to see what happens 6 weeks after something comes out. I can't depend on what it's going to do as far as what it says on the tin.
I mean, hell, forget 6 weeks. I mean, Ain has just said in chat, chemo. How long was chemo the way it was before they started changing it, or the neutronic as far as what it did in spread? Because now it reacts differently in spread now due to the changes.
This is the year of overnerf? I thought this was the year of lag.
Well, it's also the year of lag. But we're talking about the over nerf, from everything from the removal of criticals on the plasma explosions to the changes of high yield and spread torpedoes, over nerfing of the Critum lab consoles, the quantum phase set. So yeah, I would say on top of the lag, it's the year of over nerf, and they have been rife and plentiful with the over nerf.
Well, yeah, definitely. But here's a situation we're going to look at there with the chemosite issue and the instantaneous damage all being delivered to all of the clients and causing latency issues. That should have been addressed on the client and server sides of the equation. And yes, I understand you needed to change the way some of the mechanics worked in order to fix the issues with it. Chemosite was definitely bugged. It needed to be fixed. No question at all of it. But when you had something that was not causing these lag issues being changed, and then changed again to where it does nothing but really reduce the power of it, where you are seeing a much lower performance than what it used to be, there's going to be some people a little bit up in arms about it. Now, we've been quiet in the kinetic community. We've been quiet about it because we want to say, okay, we'll suck it up for the betterment of everybody else, because we definitely want to see the client-server performance issues be dealt with and go away. So yeah, we'll take one for the team. But when the lag issues haven't been fixed, chemosite, the real problem, has been addressed, and then we're now looking at something where we're seeing a loss in performance over a change that was unnecessary, we start looking at this thing and saying, we kind of got the raw deal on this. But this is just one example of how a couple things have been changed. And yeah, we're upset about this. We're looking at this. We understand some things are being changed and tested in a live environment to see how it comes off. Here's the initial report. We kept silent for it for a while. Here's the initial report. It stinks. let's see if we can address it to where it's not going to cause degradation in performance for anybody else, but at the same time, not a loss or an overgain in power as well, because we want to make sure we're not going into the opposite end of the spectrum. With that said, though, plasma console have been changed the most. Flat out the most. And every time we heard, it's settled, here's the final iteration, that's it gets changed again. So I can understand people's frustration, especially when they invest a lot of time and resources into bringing them up to par for their gameplay. And then 6 months down the road, for XYZ reasons, changed.
Here's one that we can also associate with all this, and it's one that people have wanted back in the game for a long time. No win scenario, which Sin Industries brought this up. No win scenario. Where the hell is it? It's probably one of the most requested queues to bring back outside of elite queues in general, especially for Borg. And Sin, from what we understand, they've addressed that. They cannot find a way to balance that particular SDF no-win scenario, considering all the power creep. It is tentatively, permanently removed because they cannot figure out how to balance it.
Could you imagine that, though, with the power creep we have right now? I mean,
oh, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
We have so much power creep that you could take down a side with a torp spread. That's broken.
Or ISE. I mean, we all know in the current itineration, ISE, if it was to come back the way it is, it's simply going to be an HP and shield sponge. But there's enough power creep with all the abilities, we could balance out those sponges fairly quickly, and then it would be nothing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a better testing map at the high end for DPS, because Infected Advanced is just far too easy. At the high end, it's all just so much spike.
And shout out to the Agronauts for making Hive Space Elite look like child's play now. I mean, our bad days we finish in like 7 minutes, and that's a bad day. I will say, all right, let's do one more best of the best series over here. One each for everybody here. Your best personal trait and your best trait, whether it be space or ground. We'll start with Zeph Films. Go.
Ground, I don't really have one. Space, I don't even remember the names of them right now.
Well, what do they do?
I don't know. They do things. They make the mana core go.
Weapon system synergy?
That's for torpedoes, which I don't use yet.
Yet.
Coming 2016, another Manicore torp boat. Boom. Maybe reciprocity or supremacy. I think reciprocity. I was kind of stoked to get that, but yeah, I'm indifferent. Lately, I've been doing more video stuff than actually playing the game. So, but yeah, I guess I'll have to pass on that question.
TimberWolf.
Starship traits, for me, would be invincible. To me, that's the number one starship trait that came out in my mind, simply because it does give you that invincibility for a certain amount of time.
That's on the Zal.
That's on the Zal, which is a Lobi ship. As far as space traits, and I picked this one because it's funny, because I'm not quite sure if the bug was fixed with it yet, but we did notice it this year, was intense focus. And it's during combat you gain your shield pin, but the bug that we found associated with it is sometimes it casts against yourself, and that's how the board can sometimes very easily one-shot you when you're at 100% hull and shields in an ISA. So that's why I picked that trait. It's a great trait, and it can be very expensive on the exchange nowadays. But it sometimes likes to cast against you, and then the Borg say, hey, shield pin, die.
I have breaking news.
Go for it.
Patch notes are out for tomorrow. They're doing a shard restart that'll last 2.5 hours starting at 7 a.m. PST. That is all.
Well, I mean, they are allowed to take a vacation, you know. I say enjoy, guys.
Hey,
The
Ellen,
ladies.
when they do the restart, just have the mental picture of their rack in mind when they do it.
For those who don't know, we've been trolling Zeph with this one here.
Post the picture again.
We'll post the picture again.
I think he just broke him.
He's broken. Teacher, you know what? While we're picking up the pieces of his isolinear circuitry, could you please give us your best traits, whether it's space or ground? Go.
Oh, you know, I'd have to say, and I know they fixed it from its initial thing, but I'd have to say Chronoton Jolt. I loved that when you could go into a advanced ground queue and just spawn a horde of, you know, security officers.
Oh, that was
and
great.
have them do it for you. That was awesome. It was a fun little thing, and I mean it still cools off some certain abilities, and it does allow you to get a few more things, and it is useful. But the initial first week or two with it, where it allowed you to do that, was just really fun.
Yeah, having about 200 security officers per character in TTE was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was.
Especially with Hammer and Anvil.
Okay,
I
Mr.
still
Hammond
love
and
that
Anvil.
trait.
What's your favorite then?
My favorite traits, for space traits, I'd have to say it's a tie between Ablative Shell and Coalition Starship Tactics. Those two are both just so cheap and so good. And then, for Starship traits, Emergency Weapon Cycle. I love that trait. It's just so good.
We know how cheesy you are with that.
The power creep, I love it.
Mikey, go.
As far as traits, since I mentioned them already, I'll just go back to them real quick. The self-modulating fire, self-modulating shots from the recent lockbox for Space and Ground are pretty cool. But my favorite overall space trait of all time is always going to be Radiant Nanite Cloud. Never won't be.
You know what? That plays very well to your medic theme. Very, very well.
I love everybody, and I love everybody so much that I splash my heels all over them.
Please rub me with your heels, baby. Give me your nanites.
That's
Indiscriminate
nasty.
with my love.
I just felt really, really dirty.
Opposed to
That's a sexy voice.
opposed to normally.
You know,
More
I'm
so
actually
than
gonna.
normal.
DPS After Dark.
I'm gonna agree with you on the space and ground trait, self-modulating shots and self-modulating fire, for me especially, and for the kinetic community as a whole. Beautiful.
Since we're
beautiful
trying to be
thing
kind of
on the
topical,
ground
right?
in space. Exactly.
It came out last year, came out relatively recently, and maybe everyone doesn't know about it yet. And it's still pretty cheap. Not cheap, but you can get it. It's affordable.
It's very affordable. I mean, you spend like 4 days, doing 5 SDFs, collecting the loot, and then selling it off. You can get it. It's that cheap, but it's still that good. Get it while it's hot.
It's like one key's worth, I think.
I think as far as the space traits, and the one that, and this is kind of a hold me over from December 2014 going into 2015. And I know there's going to be some flack for it later on because there's some issues that need to be dealt with it. But when they were initially dealt with and it was working fine, bug-free, it would be Torpedo Barrage from the Cheshire. Thing is and that's what really got me going personally, from going from a 35 to 50k torp boat going up into 75k range.
For sure, I thought you would say Transport Warhead.
Come on. I'd rather run demolition teams and boarding party twice over than Transport Warhead.
Oh yeah, self-modulating shots, ground version 125K. The space version is 5 mil.
Yeah, you can do a couple SDFs and you can have the ground one done in an instant. Get it?
What about kinetic magnet?
Kinetic magnet is, think of everything good with attack pattern beta, but make it so that beta stops working after you do 20k damage to it. How about that? Would you guys like that? If attack pattern beta stopped working after you did 20k damage to it?
That's not even one hit.
Considering attack pattern beta was part of the reason for lag for most of the year and shit stopped working anyway, I'd be kind of used to it, actually.
As a point.
That's a whole nother story.
Don't get used to the nerf bat. Stay mad. Stay angry.
We're going to stay angry with it. We're going to keep at it on the show. We're going to see exactly what is justified and what isn't justified. We're going to take the voices of the community, well, whoever wants to talk to us, that is, and then we're going to broadcast it out, and we're going to see if it can actually get some sort of eyes on it from the dev community, and maybe a resolution of some sort.
Hey, Marshall. Some people do like to listen to us. Literally, some.
Really?
That's what I hear.
Okay. All right. You know what? We'll do a little cheesy entertainment for all of you here. Once a month, one of us will go off on a stark raving mad rant, and we'll just make it so freaking hilarious that you all will have a good laugh about it. How about that? Going into 2016.
Sign-up sheet's going to be like 4 years deep. Jeez, guys, who's going to go first?
I mean, I probably will. I'm the one that handles all the paperwork around here, so yeah.
It'd be really easy for me. Just show me
So you're the angriest.
photo again of that rack with all the cabling, and I'll go off for about 15, 20 minutes. But the importance of Velcro and where to get your Velcro needs from, and how you should always have a 500-foot roll of Velcro.
Whoa, slow down. We said 2016. We still got a day and a half left, okay?
Right,
calm down.
It's okay, Alan. It's okay. You can't be mad at them just because they've never heard of Panduit.
I'm just going to go back to Sony Vegas Pro and fight the power of CBS.
He stands with Axonar.
Remember, upside down chips for the win, Alan.
Yeah.
Don't let CBS beat you.
All right. Any closing remarks before we end the show? The last one of 2015. Go.
May 2016 bring us lag fixes and torp nerfs.
And T6 flagships.
Yes, we need T6 flagships with Intel seeding, and if possible, the Scimitar needs to have a built-in anti-proton lance.
I don't care about your OSS. Give me RPM3 for life.
And sensor analysis.
And sensor analysis.
And finally, on top of all of that, let us finally see in 2016 the marriage between Astro Zombie, Spencer, and Snipey, so that we all will know that the only one on the bottom will probably be Spencer.
What an unholy union.
That is unholy.
I know, right?
That is crazy unholy. You know what? I want to see in 2016, and this is going to be a little a little teaser for everybody out there with no spoilers. We're going to have Creo do a couple commercials for a guide, and that's all I'm saying.
Beam fire at will.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Thank you, everybody out here who was supporting us on the show for all of 2015. We're still a rough startup, but you know what? We're going to take it to the next level in 2016. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening and contributing. Thank you to all the fleets who have came on the show. Thank you to everybody who's came on the show. Thank you for the panel that I've been blessed with here. And thank you all for playing this game and making it fun for all of us so that we wouldn't be bored to tears.
Thanks for running the Freak House, Marshall.
What was that?
Thanks for running the Freak House, Marshall.
You know it. I love this. I feel honored and privileged to be a member of this. This nice little happy accident turned out into be something big for the community, and I hope it gets bigger, and I hope that we can reach more people and help them out and help them enjoy the game even more. And we can't wait to see what Zeph has brought us up there for 2016. We can't wait to see what the Foundry is going to kick out for us in coming up in February, and I believe in March or April. If I've got the dates right, I have to look at the calendar.
We can't wait to see all of you guys live at Star Trek Las Vegas for the 50th anniversary, because we will be there.
There will be a
If
Kickstarter.
you guys are going to be there, I've got to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're trying to get it. Now, here's
There
something I
will
was
be a
actually going to announce on the
Kickstarter.
first of the year, but you know what? Guess what? Since Timber let it out of the bag, we're going to start up a Kickstarter to
early.
send TimberWolf, and then anything excess, we'll send Sarcasm Detector out, and we'll help fund Mikey, we'll help fund Spencer. I'm somewhere down the
I'm
list
close,
behind
at
TeacherKirby
least,
and
so.
Alan and everybody else. But you know what? We'll send these people out. We're going to put the list in the details so we have all the specific funding requirements there, so you know exactly what your money is going for. So we're not going to hide anything. Nothing's going to go into anybody's pockets. This is going to go straight over there to represent us on the show for Star Trek Las Vegas. We're going to surprise the devs with a big pie fight because we know the cake is definitely a lie.
And a whole lot, apparently, of Velcro.
It is one of their
We're
weaknesses,
a lot of Velcro.
along with booze. Oh
Yeah,
God,
you know what?
no! Don't do that to Alan. Don't take him out. No.
No,
He's
we
gonna
have to
fun
send him.
in
We have to
Vegas.
send him so he can make sure that network works properly.
Yeah, I figured I would send him with a whole bunch of Velcro, zip ties, and a free budget to do whatever he needs to do to make it where he doesn't have his seizures whenever he looks at the picture. So I've filed the appropriate paperwork.
Seriously.
I'm gonna get up on my soapbox here a little bit. I need to go to Star Trek Las Vegas, because they're probably going to announce Star Trek or STO season 12. That's my guess, and I need to be there to make sure that a proper trailer gets released for all the fans.
Amen to that.
Handle
Shots
business.
fired.
It
Amen.
actually should be season 13, Alan.
I mean 13. They just did
Season-
11.
Yeah, and then 11.5 will be at the end of next month, like because they do it in 3-month cycles, and then we'll have season 12 in May or June.
Maybe.
So we're either getting a 12.5 or 13?
It depends on
Yeah.
how many story episodes you put out too.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. I don't know. I think next year is going to be a busy one for me. I'm actually doing a 2015 review video right now. That's what I've been working on all evening. And then I'm going to kick it off with a little T6 fun there next month, probably first or second week. And then I'm sure there'll be lots of stuff being released that I'm going to get my hands on and try and break my record of 22 videos I did, 15 of them being cinematic. So I gotta crack a record of 15. I think I can do it.
You can do
Jesus. I guess there's benefits to being photonic, huh?
it. Your machine. Anyway, from all the panel here on the show, we thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing with us and hanging out with us. We love 2015, and we're going to see how much better we can expect 2016 to be for Star Trek Online, as well as the community and all the people involved in it. I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm very proud to actually be a big part of it now within my tiny little kinetic community. And we're going to move in to something, I don't know. What do we call this here when everybody gets together and we have a nice little party and everybody enjoys themselves? What do we call that
Sexy
again?
party.
Something not suitable for broadcast because it can get dirty.
Oh,
Yeah, DPS After Dark.
DPS After
DPS
Dark?
After Dark 2016, baby. DPS After Dark is going
Yeah.
to be broadcasting.
All I know is
First
Christ.
live stream will be this Friday, January 1st, going into January 2nd. It's going to start at midnight Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Time. I always forget which is which. I spent the last 28 years in Hawaii where we didn't switch, so forgive me on that. But yeah, midnight Central Time, Friday, January 1st going into January 2nd, and then again Saturday, January 2nd going into January 3rd. So there you go. First
Will
stream.
tuned.
Yay!
there also be things that rhyme with poker and snow?
Yeah.
But we won't say what.
No, no.
Oh, everybody, happy holidays, happy New Year to everybody out there. We'll see you in game. Have a good night.
Good night,
Yep.
guys.
Good night and happy
See
New
ya.
Year.
Good night. Happy New Year.
See ya.